Okay, welcome back to episode number 62. How is everybody doing?
Good.
Busy. Stressed.
Busy? Stress because of work, stress because of family life.
Stress. I'm on edge.
Because you get 2 hours sleep, that's why.
I'm checking. We're good, man. I'm where I want to be. We're good. We're well. I'm conscious about always saying, "Oh, I'm good," because then it means I'm not working hard enough.
It's sad that you think that for you to be well, it's connected with you working hard. Like you can't just be well or be calm or relaxed.
Everybody's always saying, "Yeah, I'm well," and nobody wants to say, "Nah, I'm stressed," or I'm bugged out, or I'm just trying to get a couple things done, and I'm all right. I'll be okay. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do. But it's because when you said you were stressed, we were like, okay, yeah. So Daniel, how are you doing as well?
Good stress. It's good stress.
That's good to hear. Daniel, yourself, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
That's good. Shuab?
I'm good.
You good?
Beginning of Q4, so we've got a couple more months to squeeze out a few more things.
That's good to hear. So I'm going to be taking the lead on this episode. We had an episode, 2 episodes ago about 100 million, which I thought was a really good episode. We got a lot of interactions from our listeners. It was a heated episode and topic, which we've been going back and forth on WhatsApp outside of sort of the podcast, still trying to understand whose idea, whose plan was actually the best. For our listeners, stay tuned and stay listening. At the end of this episode, we are going to announce the winner of that 100 million episode. But
you should announce it because it ain't you.
Huh? we will announce that
millions.
Just make sure the 25 pounds clears. Yeah, just make sure the 25 pounds clears. But no, in this episode, I wanted to really just talk about the connection and the relationship between money and happiness, right? So we talked about 100 million and what would we do in terms of planning and spending and investing 100 million. But I wanted to also understand us as a society, us as people, and our connection with money, and always sort of chasing money, trying to strive for a certain amount. What does that perfect salary look like? Is us chasing a particular wage or salary impacting our happiness, right? So stay tuned, get started, and no, let me say that again.
It has been a while
Rusty.
since Olu has done one of these intros.
So stay tuned, and let's get started.
Take off, take flight with you. Before we never fly, but we're flying.
Well, that yoga that you're doing, Olu's got you way too relaxed, big man. Even your mouth is getting loose.
Hey, you gotta start your day with yoga. It's a great.
I've seen on the Apple Watch, by the way. I've seen every time Olu banging yoga session like 4,000 calories.
No, so let's get into the episode. So now let's start with the first point, right? I just wanted to understand from you guys really, what does happiness really mean to you guys, and are you truly even happy, right? Because I have a feeling the majority of people are just not even happy. We're just busy as human beings. So I want to start with
it's a loaded question.
Pabilo,
come on.
You said you were stressed. Let
me tell you why you shouldn't start with me, because it's another money topic, and I always seem to be the one that sort of
no, but it doesn't. Even if you could respond and say that money is not.
Dan, let's start. Dan, let's start with you. Set the tone, please.
Why?
Just warm it up, please. Just not me.
Well, happiness is a mental or or emotional kind of state of mind, if you want to go down to terms of happiness. But taking happiness out of the context of money or finance, happiness is all about a state of mind. And sometimes external factors can play a part in how you're feeling or your emotional state or your mental state. So I don't feel like happiness isn't a long-standing emotion. So when I say long-standing, it's not a long-term emotion. It comes in stages or at different times in life. put it that way. And I don't feel like you can say you can be happy today, something can happen, you might not be happy tomorrow. So it's all in terms of content or context. But in terms of are you happy, it's a choice you have to make. No one can decide for you whether you're happy. It's a decision you have to make. You can have the most terrible thing happen to you today, but you decide to choose happiness over sadness.
Yeah, they say. I think they just to add to that. They say happiness is not something that you become. I think it's something that you already are. So you just have to keep finding it from within. I came across this saying, and I thought actually it's quite spot on. Happiness is actually something to look forward to in life. So if it could be, it doesn't have to be necessarily money, but across the board, if there's something you're looking forward to, whether it's a meal or the next day or something on that next day, that is also a form of happiness as well.
You think so? Because when I hear that statement, right, I feel like that's part of what's the problem with happiness, right? Is we've always been told, oh, we are going to be happier if we achieve X, Y in a later stage, right? And we miss out on the joys and the happiness of the moment. So, like, let's take for myself, I would say, oh, I'll be happier when I graduate and get my first job. And then I was like, oh no, I'll be happier or happy when I finish my graduate scheme. And there's always a delayed achievement, or you're chasing something, right? Which then sort of, I would say with myself, I've missed out in the joys and the happiness of a particular moment because I've been looking at a future gratification or future aim or future task. So I struggle to understand that or agree with that statement, P.
But I wouldn't say, knowing you, I wouldn't say you're an unhappy person. I would say that I think you're striking a balance between, but maybe what I think it's practicing more of trying to be more happy in the moment, right? But I wouldn't say, I think that's probably what you're more anchoring towards. But I do think there is an element of when there's something you can look forward to, that does bring happiness. Now, it depends, obviously, you're talking necessarily about targets, but it could just be tomorrow. Tomorrow could bring in happiness because I'm looking forward to sort of having another shot at a day, right? And having another chance at going at work and unlocking some of my potential. So not necessarily like targets per se, but just the small steps of being able to look forward to doing that same thing again. But I think to your point, it's more practicing happiness from within.
Yeah. And I agree, like that statement, I agree with totally, right? I think that for me personally, happiness it's got nothing to do with external factors, because there's been certain days where I've been having an awful day, work or certain friendships, but I'm still happy, like, and you can't really explain it because you're like, okay, no, I'm not going to let that particular thing impact me. And there's some other people where there's some people that I've come in contact with or interacted with, and something might happen in a day and all of a sudden is, oh, I'm so unhappy. And I'm like, wait, that's such a minor in the grand scheme of, you got your health, you got a roof under your head, you got a loving family, you don't need to worry about your next meal. You got so much to be blessed about. But there's some people that always look at the glass as half empty versus, you know what, I'm at peace, I'm happy, I'm content with where I am and who I am as a person. But Shua, what about yourself? What do you think about what does happiness mean to you?
So I think I'm leaning a bit in Daniel's camp, where I think it's down to each individual to define it and figure out what makes them happy. But I'd also probably agree with you, Olu, that if you put it into external factors, then you can kind of lose that very quick. Generally, I think I'm actually a pretty happy person. I'm happy with my life. Happiness to me is being able to do what I want when I want in relative terms. And that for me is the biggest freedom. And that doesn't just mean what I want to do in my kind of quote unquote playtime, but I think it also means if there's opportunities that I see in front of me, can I take them? And I'm at my happiest when I can do that. And I think in my life, if I reflect to especially the last 8 years, kind of post-university, maybe there was one period where I could ask, I had question marks about what I wanted to do next, which direction I was moving in. And I'd say that was a notable period where I could reflect and think maybe I wasn't as happy. But other than that, everything else, I'm conscious that the point that you make, Ollie, and I really liked it about not missing out opportunities because you're waiting for the next milestone. And I think I've gone through moments where, like with my dad almost passing away and lots of other things happening, and seeing other people who maybe focused on things too much and missed out on moments. I've seen that happen enough to people around me that I don't want to be in that position. So that's why I'm always conscious that if I'm invited to things or if I really want to do things, I'll try and make the time for it. But that's probably what happiness means to me. It's an inside job ultimately. So,
and even like the COVID period, right, has made me personally say, if there's something I want to do, right, instead of me waiting to do it, I'm like, okay, let me do it. If a friend invites me out, I say, hey, let's catch up. Previously, I'd be like, I'll do it later. We'll get to it. We'll reschedule. Now I'm like, no, let me do it now because you never know what's going to happen in the future. I think, Daniel, when we talk about like the external, and I think this drops into the next point I feel like a time back in the day, I was always thinking that as a human being, you've got multiple value points, right? Which dictates your happiness. So when you put too much value in one specific thing, when that one thing crumbles or doesn't go in the right way, we start to feel depressed. We start to lose our joy. So I can give you a perfect example. Like we've talked about this before, right? But when I moved back to the UK, I had put so much value in my status at work, right? And that was a part of what defined me, like where I worked, what I did. So when I was going through that rocky situation where I didn't know if I was going to stay in the company, if I was going to go through a restructuring, I know that I was not the happiest at that point, but that's also because I put so much value on that one area, right? If I looked at my relationship with my family, if I looked at my health, all these other areas, I would have been like, okay, these areas are here. This area might be a little bit lower, but I'm still as a complete person happy, right? So I wanted to switch this up and say, us as a society, how much correlation do we put on money in terms of our joy and our success? Because I think even us as a group, right, we talk about, okay, we want to be earning a certain amount. We had 100 million episode. I know all of us are striving to increase our net worth. Pabilo's not sleeping, up 24/7, I see him waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning saying, hustle, go and get it, And I want to understand, like, do you feel like we put a high correlation between money and happiness? And what your views are on that, right?
Let me bounce it back with this question, yeah? Do you guys think money can buy happiness?
Take a break for what? Take a break for what? So your question was, do you think money can buy happiness? No, it can't buy happiness.
Well, what do you think?
Certainly rent it.
Because it can rent it. I like that. So just expand on that. Sorry.
That's actually a bar. I like that bar.
Wait, I should expand on it.
So you're basically saying yes.
Oh no, I'll say no. You can't. No, money can't buy happiness because happiness is from within. So back to the previous question. It can't. Well, if that's what you believe.
No. Let me think. What it can't buy is long term. One second. What it can't buy is long term fulfillment, and I think people confuse the two. But let me tell you, we've been extremely happy when we have used our money to invest in experiences.
But that's also what you just. That's also how you decide what brings you happiness, what brings you fulfillment.
Yeah, but we can't go to Thailand and enjoy if I ain't got no money.
True.
So what I'm saying to you is,
and you can't take a break. Take a break for what?
No, but I think for me, I think
P.
When I look back at my experiences, money does buy happiness. It just doesn't buy you long-term fulfillment, because what happens is it's short-term.
No, take a step back. Money can buy you experiences which can bring you happiness, but money can't buy you happiness.
Yeah, but if I were
money is the vehicle to open those avenues, which then in turn bring that happiness.
Yeah, but I'm gonna use money to go and lease a 911. I'm happy.
Yeah, money is the vehicle. Money is the vehicle to bring the experience.
Now you're just splitting hairs.
But I want so just to be clear. So P is saying it can. Daniel, your position is that it can't.
No, because and the reason why I'm saying that, taking that position is you hear it, and I think people say this to make other people feel comfortable. People put this out there. People say,
"Wait, can I? Which other people are you talking about, bro?"
No.
Let's hear out the point, and then we can.
You know the rhetoric around money can't buy happiness, and I think sometimes I have to always question who is saying that, right? Because usually that person, or maybe you can say that person has money. When that person didn't have any money, they weren't saying that, right? So I'd spend a lot of time understanding who is saying what it is they're saying. If I look at my own personal experience, society is one thing. If I look at my own personal experiences, I've been able to use money in a way because I know money is just a tool, and I've been able to yield it in a way that brings me happiness. So I can't say money doesn't bring me happiness, because I can pull up all the pictures now that we've enjoyed on holidays, etc. It takes money. I didn't
enjoyed, by the way.
This guy
got the thing.
So, but what I will say, the distinction that I make for myself is it will not buy you long-term fulfillment, and that's for me. So that's my position.
So Pete, I think that's a very, very clear position. So just to close out Daniel's view, because he kind of counteracted it.
I think P counteracted mine.
What portion buy with no money?
No, because I think Daniel, you went after P, right? That's what I meant.
I went first.
No, Daniel went first.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay, well, I got confused.
So I would say with for me, money can't buy happiness.
Jeez, you man are drinking.
But lack of money, definitely can't buy happiness, right? Because you'll be
I know.
I think I'm stuck I'm between both of you, right? Because I agree with P, right? When you don't have money and all you're focusing about is your next meal or like if you want to take a flight, having to worry about where you're going to get your next bit of money. When you're broke, all you think about is money. All you think about, you consume.
I haven't seen too many broke people happy. Just putting it out there.
No, that's all you're consumed about, right? All you think about is, okay, how do I provide for my family? How do I put a roof on it? Like that, you're just consumed with it, right? And I think in the episode we're gonna go further into it, right? But I want to understand, like, what is that happy medium, right? Because I think there's a happy place when it comes to money and how much you need to survive and live a good life. And the problem is probably we struggle to dictate or assess what that medium is. But for me, happiness can't buy full-time. Money can't buy full-time happiness. It provides you the tools to spend or use on certain things that will buy you happiness, if that's giving your money away from charity or giving your money away to friends, right? But like, I love the feeling of a friend coming over to me and we go into a restaurant or whatever, and I'm saying, okay, I could pay the check or I could pick up the check and not worrying about that.
I ain't. You pick up a check, I pick up my check.
But the whole point. Go ahead. The whole point, money can't buy happiness, is because happiness isn't a long-standing feeling. Happiness is a here and now. It's a state of emotion. It's a state of your it's a state of your current emotion here and now. You can't say you're going to be happy tomorrow. You can't say I'm going to be happy next year.
Daniel Johnson.
Therefore, money can't buy happiness, because happiness isn't supposed to be there forever.
Daniel Johnson.
Joy is what's within, and joy is what you're saying, Ollie, where external factors can't affect or take that joy away from you. You can be joy. You can have a joyful heart, and you can be joyous, but you can be unhappy at a certain stage or any state at any stage in life or at any state.
But I would still say that happiness is internal as well, right?
Well, yeah, happiness is it's internal because it's a state, it's an emotional state.
Yeah,
so
but you can dictate that emotion. I believe you can dictate, like, based on your inner self, how you feel and how joyful you are or happy you are, right?
It costs to eat. You need paper.
I think it's as well.
Sure, go ahead.
And it definitely does cost to eat, and we've all seen the size of Karen. He's a growing boy, so it costs a lot.
Inflation.
Jose, it's interesting because I'm kind of in Olu and Daniel's camp. I don't necessarily think money can buy happiness. But if I'm really honest, what it has bought me is it buys me. No, let me finish. It buys me two things. It buys me options, and options is something that you just don't have. You don't have as many options when you don't have as much money. That I think personally, it buys you options. The other thing that it buys, which is invaluable, is time, and just time to think. Right. So if I think, if there's been a problem or an issue that I can solve financially, that for me is the biggest power from it, because when an issue arises, it's like, okay, that's a bit frustrating, but let's fix it. I'm very fortunate, and I think we're all in that position where if an issue comes up, it's not like we have to think, okay, wow, how are we going to cover this? How are we going to pay this?
Quick question. How are you fixing that issue?
No, but with money, that's what I'm saying. Money gives you time and it gives you options.
Guys,
yeah.
Why are we beating around the bush? I'm making it sound jazzy and nice.
On the flip side, Pete, I think we've spent within this, at least for Pete, we've been shopping together, right? We've spent money on material goods, yeah. These material goods that we spend money on, thousands, tens of thousands.
How happy were we?
We were, but has that
happiness? That comes and goes. That comes and goes.
I'm not denying that. That's what I said. Yeah, it doesn't bring long-term fulfillment, but what it does do, it does inject happiness. You can't deny that.
It's a short-term happiness. It's
fine, whatever though. Whatever
it's a short-term feeling.
Right?
Short-term feeling.
It depends, but it depends. I mean, I could sit in at 9/11 for a while and feel happy. So I don't know about short-term. All I'm saying to you, yeah.
But the thing you got to realize is, Pete, us as a society, we're a consumer generation, right? And yes, you can buy the 911, right? But then a new car is going to come out, and then you're going to be unhappy, and you're going to be chasing that next car.
But that's not. But now we're talking about personal greed and how your mindset is wide. So that's another topic. But I think I'm just trying to get across is I've heard that saying so many times: money can't buy you happiness. Money can't buy you happiness. And I start to wonder what that does to the mind. If you condition the mind to think that way, what we're all saying, I think is correct. But I just don't want. I wouldn't want to tell myself it's peace. All right, you don't need to get it, because being able to provide for the family, being able to sort of buy experiences, right? It takes the ability to earn, collect money, and then to use the money. So I think it's about we can't. I wouldn't put out the notion of don't worry about the money. You can you can find happiness within, but if you learn how to use the money as a tool and you yield it in the right way, that can bring happiness to you and also others. So I think it's the education around how to use the money.
Let Shawal finish his point, but I want to I want to ask you something about that, Pete, afterwards. What you just said, I want to ask
about my salary, innit?
Yeah, what is that number? I want to know what that number is.
I got an answer for you.
But my I've pretty much, just from my perspective, I don't necessarily think it buys you happiness. It buys you options and it buys you time to think. That's it, personally. Which of course can be. Yeah, it
gives you the time and the ability to think.
Yes.
This guy is.
So
this guy. No, wait. This guy. You're talking about Shuo, you know?
Yeah. That's All right, let's move to the next question. What's the next question?
Let's move to the next question.
So Pete, what you just mentioned. So what is that number, right? Because you're saying.
So I thought about it because I was preparing for the episode. My perfect salary is what I'm earning now. And the reason being is because I don't deserve to earn any more or any less. I've earned the position. I've earned the number I have. And I have understood how to be happy with the salary I earn now. So making more changes things. It doesn't, and I won't know what change that brings and if I'll be happier with that. All I know is what I earn now is exactly right for me and my family. I have to keep using it in the right way. And I'm extremely happy with the position I have right now.
I love the answer. I'm surprised about the answer. I'm surprised about that.
I had to think about it. I'm
surprised about that answer, but what about yourself?
No, actually, Ollie, let's hear your one, because you said you were surprised. So let's hear your one, because I feel like you're going to say something, and then we'll go to Daniel.
So can I just say something? Yeah, that the answer to that question is the answer to the question.
So you lost us.
Hey, what I'm saying to you, the answer to that question around the fact that if I thought about it, and the answer to the question of what is your perfect salary is exactly what you're making now. it's you not understand. You not get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like if you said okay, I want to earn 10,000 more.
Yeah.
For me, like why you're not happy as you are. Like we're talking about happiness, so I'm taking a position that I'm happy today with everything that I have.
But I think you're answering that based on the fact that you're content and happy in your current situation, right? Okay. I think a lot of times
maybe some men are not happy. All right, cool.
People would typically say, okay, the number that I'm aiming for is like when I hit 200K a year, then I've reached that goal. Some people would typically say, okay, 100K, they have a number in their head, right? For me particularly, when I asked this question, I struggled with a number, right? For me, it was less about the number and it was more how I make that number. So for me, there's no, like, you could tell me, okay, 1 million, right? If 1 million has got me stuck in a cubicle working 18 hours a day, that's not worth it, right? It's for me, it's more around the freedom was what I had. I think I had a bare minimum of saying, okay, what can I survive and live on, right? If I can have around 70K a year, I could be comfortable if the way I was making it wasn't me working 8 hours a day. If I was doing 1 hour a day or whatever, or was coming from dividends and it was passive, right? That 70K a year would be more than enough for me to be content and happy about, right? So I say it had less to do for me a perfect number and was more around how am I making that particular salary for me. What about yourself, Shua?
Now, I actually want to hear Daniel next, but only one quick question.
Yeah.
So does that mean the way, just to dig in on that a bit, the way you're earning your income now, because we've spoken about your property stuff, and of course you still have your job, right? Would you say that the way that you're earning now, then, based on your answer, isn't the ideal, optimal way for you?
No, I would say, especially at this particular time, and I'm okay with it, right? I'm at the early stage of my goals where it's more time consuming for myself, right? And that's one because I've got a full-time job, trying to do stuff with the property and trying to do other stuff on the side. So it's all over the place in terms of the time and how much I'm spending on it, right? So if you were to say to me, is what I'm doing right now feasible, like if I consistently stay exactly how it is right now, is that realistic, right? It's not for me personally. Like, okay. I don't believe that my optimal happiness would be doing this amount of workload per se for the rest of my life. I wouldn't say that.
Okay, good, interesting. Because I guess that's a different perspective to what P was saying, where he was saying the number he's good with now, but I guess he didn't talk much about the methodology, and you're talking more, the methodology is more important to you than the number.
Than the number, yeah. Okay, because I think there's a saying, right, where it's called like the golden handcuff, right? Where your company, I get paid really well for what I do, right? And what that keeps you is trapped in that particular position, right? Because the moment you start to earn 100K, you start to create a life around 100K, right? Mm-hmm. If that's sending your kids to private school, if that's investing in certain properties, in traveling, whatever, you create a life around that 100K. Now, you might not be completely happy with your job. You might stay in the same job for 5-10 years and want to move, but then you look at another job and it's saying, okay, now we're going to have to pay you 60K, right? You feel trapped. Oh, I can't now go from 100K to 50K. And that's why you find so many people trapped in a job that they don't like for years and years, because they become reliant on that particular salary.
I think just on that, I think there's more to it than that. I think they also lack skills to be able to move on. So it's not just the salary thing. But there are cases like that.
I think the majority of it is not that they lack skills, right? Because if that employer wanted them, right, if that employer wants them and they're doing a job there, another employer and they could do a job somewhere else, right? So it's not like I think it's more creativity, more comfort,
risk, comfort.
Yeah, people get comfortable is a big one. In a particular situation, right? We're comfortable creatures, right? That's us as human beings, apart from Pete. So,
Daniel, Daniel, what's your perfect salary?
I want to take a step back because this is quite a complex topic. This is a complex topic because when you start talking about what do you need to be happy and what is happiness, because it's not a straightforward thing, especially when you bring money into it. Because you're saying that unless you're rich or unless you have money, a broke person's never happy. But when you take it back to was it Maslow's so go on?
No, the money thing is relative to the individual.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't put a number on rich. Rich is how you define rich.
Yeah. Because that takes it back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs of the first base being the physiological needs. So that's like your food, warmth, and water, and the shelter. And then safety needs and security, and your safety. Then you've got your belongingness of intimate relationships, etc. Then you have the next one, which is esteem needs, and then self-actualization, which is the top, is about reaching your full potential. Because in ultimate fact, as long as you have the physiological needs, you are safe. Or the first two, you're safe and secure. You have a roof over your head. You've got enough to survive, basically. And then that's where your particular terms of happiness or what brings you happiness then comes into play, because money is called a currency because it's designed to flow through you. You're not supposed to hold on to it. And as P's always said, it's a tool. It's not something that you should hold on to. It comes to your hands, you let it go. And that's how the economy works, because currency keeps moving round and round and round. You shouldn't hold on to it.
Big key.
And when you bring money into it, and when we're saying, can money buy happiness? It can't buy long-term fulfillment. It can buy an experience or short-lived state of emotion. For example, money can buy you a house, but it can't buy your home. Money can buy you, it can buy you a bed, but not a good night's sleep. Money can't buy you a friend. Money can't buy you a companion. Money can't buy you love. These are things you have to do by yourself.
Yeah, money can buy you friends. It just depends what you're looking for.
No, it's not true.
And money can buy you companionship.
What you're looking for.
Sorry. It can buy you a companion, but not a friend. It can buy you a companion, but not a friend. Yeah. So when you think about, okay, if I had 100 million in the bank, you might be happy because you might not even have, might not be able to sleep. For example, money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy you health. It can't buy you a true family union or good relationships that are true, that are authentic. So that's where it comes to like happiness and money. There are two huge things that people start to kind of think that money and happiness are highly correlated, and they're 1-to-1 ratio. There is a correlation, possibly positive correlation, but it's not a 1-to-1 ratio in my opinion.
That's correct. There is a strong correlation. But say that again. That's important to mention.
I know. I said it's not strong.
I think there's a strong correlation.
But it's not a 1-to-1 ratio.
It's not 1-to-1. Exactly.
Yeah. So like when people say, money doesn't mean anything, it does mean something. No one wants to be broke. No one wants to have zero in the bank, because money's just like oxygen. You just got to have it. You need it to survive.
I remember when I was earning less than minimum wage in my internship about 10 years ago.
You earned more than me though.
And I earned no way, Daniel.
I thought we had this. Wait, Oli, when you came over, I think we had this conversation. And I think when Oli came over, we had this conversation.
I've got the number on my chest, Daniel.
You earn more than me. No.
Daniel.
What is your number?
Let's just say both of you are not getting paid.
I wasn't getting paid.
No, I saved more than everyone. You got 15 or more. Don't try it.
No, I didn't.
Don't try it.
I remember I didn't.
Another topic. You was getting, Daniel, don't ever try it. You was getting
No. I told Olu. No.
The job center. Would you wait, go on. Say what you're gonna say.
I don't know. When Olu came and Bianca came over a few weeks ago, and Melissa, we're talking about internship, and we're talking about salary. And I got popped.
Yeah, but put your number out there, because I tell you how much I got. I think, bro, listen.
Is this back in your Porsche days?
Porsche, bro.
Okay.
So was this less than your allowance, your tax allowance?
I think I got no. Daniel, how much you get a month? How much you get a month? How much you get a month?
I didn't get taxed.
How much you get a month? I didn't get taxed. Only NI. I got about 8. I got about. I didn't listen. I didn't. The tax man looked at my paycheck and thought, bro,
The tax man probably was like, "There's some allowances that we can."
He should. I think we need to help you out. That's what he said. I think we need to help you out. I think it was about £856 I got each month.
Wait, what's the salary? What was that per annum?
Yeah, 856 times 12. So like,
that's,
like
that's net, right? That's net.
Net. Oh, hang on. Yeah, it was net. It was net.
So
yeah.
I got 12k.
Exactly. I got less than you. I told you. You know how much I saved?
All of it.
10, bro. That's where but it's for another story.
But they gave you accommodation.
It's for another story.
But they gave you accommodation.
No.
They gave you accommodation.
I use my student.
Okay, so
student loan money to finance the accommodation. But quickly, all I wanted to say was this: is I remember life as an intern. Not that I wasn't happy. I remember life as an intern.
You weren't happy.
Minimum wage.
You weren't happy.
No, I said I wasn't not happy. I was happy. No, the first 6 months was something else. But I was okay. So
you're lucky you got to experience those first 6 months.
Now imagine, but
I know. But listen, all I wanted
to just 1 second. The thing about that is, imagine your experience there in that job, and how much you were getting paid. Yeah, both of them together. What was your happiness level?
No, I don't even know.
Imagine
I didn't have time to think for myself. I didn't have time to think for myself.
Imagine you have getting 50k, right? And that same role. Do you think you would have been happier?
50k at that stage?
Yeah, and the same role.
You would have been sweating to keep that job, boy.
It's a good question actually. Too young to receive all that money at that time. I think it's interesting you say that because I don't actually know. You know what's interesting? I was so focused on obviously the saving target, which I achieved, but day to day, you're focused on the role. You're focused on what the role brings you. So I guess so, right? But it's difficult to say. What I was trying to say actually is I know what I'm earning now, and I know what I was earning then. I would take what I'm earning now all day long over what I was earning then.
I hope so.
Happiness.
Otherwise, Karen will be hungry.
So Daniel, what's your number? Before we move to the last.
In terms of a number, I think P kind of not trying just to piggyback, but if I'm happy now,
you'll be happy if you make 10 more.
No,
10k more.
Yeah, no, I'm happy now. I'm content with what I have, with what I'm paid. I wouldn't say no to more, because ultimately, the fact that I'm going to be if I'm earning more, when it comes to salary review, it means the work I've been doing is now more valued than what I was doing the year before. So that means I have to then be content with and agree with the salary increase that I get, the pay rise I get, because it reflects the work and my input and value to the company.
Okay.
So but that said, I would want year on year an increase. I wouldn't be happy being paid the same as I was 5 years ago, because I don't feel as though the work I'm doing 5 years ago is to the same standard. I evolve, improve.
Maybe it is in the eyes of the company.
Possibly, could be. And that's where then you have to then have the ability and the, wanting to move on, to feel like, okay, I'm now undervalued. Because ultimately, why do people leave positions in a company? It's either for money or they don't feel valued. So if you don't feel valued,
they could value you but not pay you, right? Because you're connecting that value with the payment. Because they can value you and say, hey, Daniel, you're doing a great job today.
But then what is compensation is basically your salary is paying you for the value that you bring to the company. So they can value you. But if that doesn't,
the role is estimated to bring to the company, not you as an individual. You can over deliver and still be underpaid.
True.
The role.
True.
Okay, let's move to
quickly. Just you're gonna go to the one about 75k or 70k. Those like this.
I want to go to.
Okay. I thought that's an interesting question.
So I sent the group a video, just talking about money and the happiness and the connection between money and happiness. And in the video that we watched, and we can share it on our YouTube page, it talked about a company called Gravity Payment, where the CEO decided to take a salary cut. He was previously earning over 1 million, and decided to take a cut to 75k a year. And then he also increased everyone's salary in the company to 75k, right? And the reason they did that, go on.
But would he have not decreased others? So everybody got paid 75k.
No,
Minimum.
He cut his salary so that the minimum
salary.
the base salary at the company was $70,000.
Yeah. So, and the reason why he did this was because there was a study done that said that when it comes to happiness in terms of salary and your perfect salary, the moment you exceed 70k, it starts to plateau. So you don't become any happier by earning more than 70k. They did a lot of research to say, okay, that is the happy medium. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK or the US or whatever. It's just, they said that 70k number is what they found, that the moment you start to earn more than that, because that 70k will allow you to get a good life, a roof over your head. You're already part of the 1% of the world, right? Because of the whole world. And I just wanted to get you guys' view on, do you believe this analysis? Do you feel like there's any other complexities they're not thinking about it? I know a few of us on this podcast probably earn over 70k. So I want to ask you, like, when you exceeded that 70k bracket, like, did you feel happier? Do you feel happier? Do you feel like the analysis or the study is correct?
Who's going first?
It's fun. No, I was to say it's funny because I remember hearing about this. Was it last year or a while ago? About Dan Price, and it was interesting because I think about maybe 20 or 30 of the employees. They have 120 employees and they're based in Seattle. About 30 of them doubled their salary, and a lot of them were close to that mark. So quite a lot of them increased significantly their net worth in terms of their salary. But when you take Seattle as a city compared to other cities in the States, the standard of living or cost of living is different. And I know they said in the study, it's tweaked a little bit, but it's not going to change tremendously. But it also comes down to the individual, because whether we think it or not, 70k is a good number when you think about it in terms of average salary.
I think it also depends.
But I also say that because it also comes to how you use money or how you view money, how you perceive it. Because depending on your, not even financial literacy, on how you view money, that can then become a problem. Because if you're thinking, okay, 70k, a lot of these people and the employees were able to now buy a home, become first-time buyers and have a mortgage, then they're no longer renting. But if you don't see money like that, for example, someone could have said, oh, I got all this money, I can now start going wild, rather than seeing and viewing the money in a positive way. It's different. P, go on.
But what about if you've got 70k and then you put it in a 3% interest?
Even better. If your salary was 35k before and you're now getting 70, put that 35k in a 3% interest. Live off that interest. That's your normal salary.
No. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at 75k.
Swimming in that interest. Bloody hell. That's like going back to that.
No, it don't work.
2010 money, P.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at. It doesn't work at 75k. I think the 70k. I mean, obviously, it's based on US, a certain population of people that they've studied on. Maybe I guess the thinking behind it is that it puts you just above like breathing space, right? So you can kind of do a bit more than the average person. But I think that's all it does. Because very quickly, as Olu's mentioned earlier, you start adjusting your lifestyle to 70k. So you don't actually, so you get to a point where you get to diminishing returns. You don't actually see the value that 70k brings. But I think it depends on when you receive a 70k. Because if you got 3 mouths to feed at home, 70k is not going to do it, man. It's just the spoon's not going to go around. Right, so I think
I'll just return empty.
So I think, but if you receive,
I saw Pete last week. Pete's been eating good.
This guy is so dumb. This guy is so dumb. I think if you're receiving 70,000 entry positions when you're sort of 20, 21, 22, that can do something. That can do something. That can do something. Go on. Who's next?
I don't mind actually just following. My quick comment is, I think whether the number's 70 or 100 or whatever, I think it depends on the individual, kind of building on Peace Point and what stage they are in their life. But I think once it does get to a stage, then you start to want to do what you like doing, or you'd even be willing to sacrifice a bit lower if you're going into an area that you really enjoy. Does that make sense? So I remember before I moved into this role that I'm in now in my kind of day job, the job that I was doing before, it wasn't matched with what I was looking for. I didn't really enjoy the environment that I was in. I remember probably we had a podcast episode where I spoke about having this transition in my career. And at one stage in the negotiations before moving into a new role, I was actually happy to take a financial cut to do something that I think I would enjoy a bit more. And I think that's probably because in the last years, I got into a position where that incremental wasn't generating enough of a utility to move just for the money. Does that make sense? So I can imagine if you're in the US or in Portsmouth in the UK, if you're earning 70K, you've got everything covered. You don't need to worry about bills and stuff. And you're good. But yeah, I think it depends on the stage and also what your priorities are.
And also,
But I love what you
jump,
said there, Shuel, because you just basically highlighted the fact that by you moving into a new role, money wasn't a factor to it. It wasn't a situation where you valued less about, okay, that incremental increase to make you happier, but you valued more in that particular time the purpose of that particular role, the opportunity that new role gives you. So maybe whatever that amount you were earning before you moved to this your current role, maybe that is your 70K. Obviously, whatever that number is, maybe that is your point of, okay, I'm content. I've reached where I'm happy in terms of my salary per se. And now I want to get more value through, okay, I'm able to do all my investments. I'm able to do what I want to do in terms of property, investing, this and that, traveling. Now what is more valuable to me is my life mission, my life purpose, all the other stuff that
building skills and all of
building skills, relationships, all of those elements that is not based on a number. So maybe that number does exist for everyone, but it's just not a simple calculation where you can just say, okay, 70K. Maybe everyone's got that number. Now, my only worry and my worry for which I articulate to you guys is sometimes I get afraid that we're chasing more. And that's always been my greatest fear. Do
you think you're chasing more, Olu?
Yes. And I always ask myself, because if I would be honest with you guys, my dream is to hit a certain amount, move to Bali, live off my passive income.
Olu got into his bag there. He said, guys, if I'm being honest,
if I'm being completely honest, I want that passive income to a certain amount, move to Bali.
So you're looking, you see, this is what you're looking to run away from the grind, but you're looking to quick. You're looking to jump out.
No. It's not about the grind. For me, it's not running away from the grind. It's
man.
Am I valuing the wrong thing in life? Right. And I feel like sometimes we value so much that grind that P is talking about. And I've been on that grind.
But yeah, you have.
Yeah,
Daniel, remember Paris? Olu knows how to grind, but I'm telling you. But listen, Bali's only gonna last for 2 months. I give you 2 months max, and you'll be dying to come back. Going back to your point around more, it's not just money it's not just money you're after. You're trying to unlock more of your potential. The reason why you're going more is attached to I can be better tomorrow. I can do more tomorrow. Not only I want more, I can do more. If I can do more, I can then have more. If I have more, I've earned it. So I'll take it. Right. So I think it's not as just if someone says to me, of course, we should be trying to strive for more. It's part of our purpose.
But
go ahead.
Just to build on Olu's point,
What
you're saying, sorry. Do you think, Olu, that this kind of hunger for more has increased or decreased over the years? That was one question. And then the other question is, do you think if you went to Bali, building a bit on P's comment, do you think if you had that experience, it might be better to just getting that out of your system to then get to the next phase?
Yeah, 2 months, bro. I'll give you 2 months max. You'll be dying to come back.
let me ask you your first question. So, do I feel like the wanting more as
Been increasing
increase over time? I'll say yes. And I'll say even the way I feel about it is saying the more money, the more problems. Like I feel like
Nope. Don't agree.
As far as people say that, yeah, but prior to me having a property or starting this property business, yeah, there's certain days that I could just be passive, right? Nowadays, yeah, I got to be like, okay, is the mortgage payment covered on this property?
That's not a problem.
That is as much as you think.
But I think this comes down to each individual. Pierre.
That's not a problem.
No, you know the same way they say, okay.
Would you? Listen to this. Would you rather not have that problem?
No, but it's still a problem. I'm not saying so. Again, I did not say I wouldn't rather that. I wouldn't prefer that problem.
It's not a problem.
It's still a problem. Because people say, you know, when people say like, oh, as a CEO, yeah, you might be earning millions, whatever you own the company, but now you cover all these employees' salary. You've got to worry about all these people that work for you, right? Is now there was I think P, you might have done the book review. What's the book?
What, sleep?
No, not your sleep book.
Rest.
No, not rest. It was
I think P must have just read the cover on the back of that one. And then
Olu was killing me. Oi, I can't tell you how hot I was inside. Go on, Olu.
I think it was one called "Not to Give an F" or
the subtle life of not giving an FUCK.
Yeah, and it was like every single person has got problems. Yeah, there's rich people problem and there's other people sort of problems. Yeah, and I personally feel, and maybe you guys don't agree, but the more I've gone in life, I find that okay, as more money is coming to my hands, I've got more responsibilities. I've got more problems in that sense, right? If I'm earning now 100K, I can't just be passive with that 100K. I now need to think about okay, what investments do I have with that 100K? Where I didn't need to have that problems before. It's a nice problem to have. I'm not complaining about having those problems, but I just see as you progress in life and as you succeed or go from one step to another, you find yourself having more responsibilities and more quote unquote problems. And then your second point in regards to Bali, if I was to move to Bali, do I feel like it will resolve or
not necessarily resolve? I think listening to you speak, I think this is just that pivotal moment in your life at this particular time where a break where you can kind of recharge, because you have really been putting in a shift. I mean, if you didn't start doing yoga recently, your body would probably be mad still. So I think that's why going to Bali, like what you're saying and the perspective that you have now, that's coming from a situation where you've had success, right? So I think having this break will probably put you in a great position to see what's in that next period.
Chapter.
I mean, if you want to go to Bali, big man, give me a call. I'm down.
No, and I think you're right there, Shua. I think it'll give me a perspective on what is the next chapter, and that next chapter might not be so tied to financial.
Could be anything.
It could be anything. Like for me, I go around this table, and even I talk about P,
Olu, bro. I can hear it in your voice. You sound like you're running from the grind. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where? Like listen, this is what we've been working towards to put ourselves in this position. We've created these opportunities. It's time to go to work. What are you doing going to Bali? Why are you going Bali? Why do you want to go Bali?
I could start my own yoga institution.
You're having it, bro.
But no,
someone cut this guy from around me, man. I need grinders right now, bro.
But no, on a serious note, I feel like there'll be stuff that we could do that probably can give more value to the world. In my particular, honestly, I feel like more value to the world. Like you can't be taking all the properties, P. You gotta leave some out there.
What happened to that chest? Sounding soft, cuz. Daniel, talk to him, man.
Daniel, what's your view on it? And then we'll wrap up.
What's the question?
But Daniel has
you've been going on for a while already, so I kind of lost track of
it. Because P keeps interrupting.
Daniel's been in deep thought. He's been thinking deeply.
No, I'm trying to think of what the question is.
How about the 70K? Like, do we believe that as soon as you reach more than that, does it start to plateau? The study. The one that did it. So it doesn't. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because if you double that,
thank you, listeners.
If you double that 70, it's a different lifestyle, man. So just keep going up.
I just think with anything, you're presented with new challenges. So whether you're earning 70K, 50K, 60K, 80K, 100K, 120k, you're going to be presented with new challenges because naturally your standard of living is going to now become like your disposable income is going to increase, and you'll start adapting your life to how much you're getting paid. You're not going to now, for example, go from 70k to 150k and say, oh, I'm going to continue living like I'm earning 70k. No, you're not going to do that, man. You're going to start living like you're earning 150k.
That's not what P said on the 100 million episode, right?
Yeah, because we know he was chatting rubbish.
Would you? No, let's not get into it.
If he makes 100 million, his lifestyle won't change. That's what I heard.
No, until I understand what to do with it. Come on, guys, man.
Right. And it's like saying turkeys ain't going to be ready.
Headstrong.
And it's like turkeys ain't. And guess what? Turkeys ain't popular at Christmas. Yeah, right.
I'm headstrong, guys.
No.
Stay grounded.
No, thanks, Daniel. I'm conscious about the time, so thank you for you guys' participation in this episode. I hope for the what's that?
I don't understand what that is.
What's that?
This is
current salary.
This is 3% of 70,000 per month.
People be living on.
For what? How much?
If you had your 70k, yeah, you put in a 3% interest account and you wanted to live off the monthly figure. This is how much.
Oh my god!
Let me wrap up this episode.
Good to know.
But no, thank you.
Any last comments? Any last comments before?
Last comments. I'm going to say my last comment, and then we'll go round, and then P can. No, Daniel can just close it out. So I think my last comment with this is really, look, money can't buy happiness. I do believe that.
I'm not going to end it like that, yeah? Nah, B.
I do believe that there's a strong correlation between money and happiness, like Daniel said, but it's not one-to-one. It's not one-to-one correlation, right? When you do reach a certain amount, don't believe that all your problems are going to be solved when you reach a particular amount. Like when you reach 100 million, 20 million, whatever. Don't believe that as soon as I reach a particular number, all my life problems are going to be solved. That is not true. Focus on gaining your inner happiness without a certain goal or certain target that you're reaching. If it's financially, if it's through relationships, whatever, you need to try and find that happiness, inner happiness, before you can even reach a particular money goal or whatever. Because if you have 1 million and you're not happy, one thing I can guarantee, you will splash that on stuff that are going to make you like momentary happiness that is not going to really give you anything that, like Pabilo said, desire for the long run. So that's just my big goal, is that there's not a one-to-one correlation between happiness and money. But if you don't have any money and you're completely broke, you're going to be thinking about money all the time. So that's just the reality of it. But don't try and set a goal where I'm going to be happy when I reach a certain amount. Focus on your inner self, and that's the key.
Wow. I'm just going to quickly say my comment, right? If people go back to episode 10, which is financial freedom, this is an episode that Olu led, and here he put the agenda.
Contradicted, isn't it? Contradicted. What do you say?
Go back and listen to episode 10, right?
What did I say?
And listen to where we're at now in episode 6. No, it's not any negative. It's actually
growth.
It's actually really interesting to hear and see the personal development growth, and how I don't think financial freedom is any less of a priority, but just your perspective shifts. So for me, actually, this is an amazing. My takeaway is actually seeing the different paths, and I actually want you to go to Bali ASAP, Olu, because I'm interested in what Olu post Bali looks like, and then seeing you have that conversation with Pabilo. That'd be interesting. That's my takeaway.
I'll invite Pabilo over to Bali to come and visit me.
Oh yeah, I don't deserve it yet.
And me and Daniel will just be there like, what, these two fighting or loving, or what's going on?
In the mud.
What about P? What's your final take?
No, final take. I think it's been a great discussion. I think for me, I would always say money can buy happiness. It just can't buy you long-term fulfillment. I think what's important for people to understand, you have to understand how to use money, right? And you have to be, you can yield it. You can yield it in the wrong way or in the right way. And so I think the better you understand what money is, what money isn't, the fact that, as Daniel mentioned, it's a currency, you have to keep it moving. You shouldn't hold it. It's not worth anything. It has as much value as monopoly money. All of these sort of basic characteristics around money. If you can better understand that, I think you can actually achieve happiness and also understand the importance of earning more, collecting more, to then do better things with it, right? So I think the mindset that comes with the money can definitely yield positive results and bring happiness.
Cool.
And I'll say my final remark would be: money can't buy you happiness, but giving it away can. Go figure.
You just say
I like how
Giving it away can.
I love how Daniel's always that reminder where whenever we're talking about financial topics and about investing, building and stuff, Daniel's always a reminder to be like,
give it away.
It's giving away. Yeah, it's always a.
I think I got some back payments on my Zakat, boy, to catch up.
But thank you all for listening to episode 62. Hope you found it enjoyable, entertaining as usual. If you have any feedback for us, find us on Take Flight Podcast on Instagram, or you can email us at takeflightpodcast@gmail.com. Have a great week wherever you are in the world. Stay well, stay healthy. God bless.
Boom.
Take off.